yoga class for the program together. I hope you've enjoyed the variety of yoga that we've done, the different paces, the different parts of the body, and that you can use some of the things that you've learned to integrate into your own practice. To finish our program or our final yoga class, I'm going to take you just through a really nice, nourishing half an hour restorative class. So restorative yoga is different in the sense that we have much longer holds and we use all of our props in order to support the body. So when we're having longer holds, similar to yin, is that we're trying to stretch the fascia or it kind of reminds me of lace or the outside of a tangerine when you peel it open, the white bit. It's like that, and the fascia wraps around your muscles, and it can become really tight because not much blood flow comes to it. So in order to stretch it, to allow more blood to enter into the muscles, we need to hold the poses for longer to really stretch into that part of our body. So that's what we'll do today. We're going to have our holds for about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes each. So we'll only get through a few poses, but they'll be really nourishing for the body. The other thing to note as well is that your muscles have a feedback system. So they have a feedback loop that when we stretch straight away, like say if I'm going to go and do this right now, my muscles will constrict because they don't want to tear. So it's a feedback loop that sends a message to my brain which says, oh, I'm about to tear, so let's tighten up. And then about 30 seconds, a minute later, it'll go, oh, actually it's okay, and it will soften. And that's when you can get deeper into a stretch. So it's really nice, obviously, to do other forms of yoga as we've been doing, to do hatha or vinyasa or iyengar or whatever style you like, but to also make sure you're integrating a good restorative or yin class once or twice a week or every third practice, because it really does help the body to open, and if flexibility is something that you want, then doing slower movements will really help you get there. Plus it's really relaxing and it's just really yummy for the body. I do suggest if you want to play some music when you're doing this, because we do have longer holds. So if you have a really nice playlist, I'll put one in the notes as well that I use that's just really like a meditation type playlist that you could play at the same time. Or light some incense and have a really nice space for yourself to enjoy this practice. We're going to start today's practice. I've got my bolster, my mat, my blocks, and my strap today. And I'm going to start by lying on my back, which is lovely. So place the bolster in line with your hips. I'm going to bring my feet to butterfly pose. And I'm just going to come to lie down onto my back. So getting comfortable here, allowing the arms to come out and drop over the bolster. Chin is away from chest. Let's start finding our breath and dropping into our body here. Seeing if you can match the length of your exhale with the slow and steady length of the inhale. So if you're breathing in for 5 or 6 seconds, make sure you're exhaling for the same amount of time or even longer, remembering that the exhale engages our parasympathetic nervous system and really gets our body into that state of rest and digest, its natural state that it loves to be in. Keep breathing deeply, noticing if the mind is wandering, and if it is, remember that you have many anchors available to you. You have the sensation of the body on the cushion, the sensation of the hands or the feet on the mat. You can tap into the rhythm of the breath, the count of the breath, the temperature of the breath. If you're playing music, you can tune in to the rhythm, the beat of the music to bring your attention outside of that monkey mind and into the present moment. Just holding a little bit longer here, really softening into the pose. Gently guide the knees together. Bring the hands by your side and rise up just to remove the bolster to one side. Grabbing your strap, rolling back down onto your back. And we're going to bring both legs or knees in towards our chest, and the strap's going to come around our feet. So closing the eyes down once again, strap is on the balls of the feet, driving the heels up but not putting too much pressure. So bring your hands down the strap and make sure your shoulders are down and you can feel the entirety of your back on the mat. Bring your ankles in line with your hips and just gently, we're going to stay here for a little while, we're just working into that feeling of the stretch down the backs of the legs. So I'm just going to pull my toes in, heels up, walking my hands up the strap until I find close to my edge, and then I'm going to come back from there. Just breathing into the backs of the legs. Finding that heaviness through the shoulders, the length of the spine. Feel as though you can stretch a little bit more, then maybe you just lift the heels up a little more or push more into the backs of the knees or walk the hands further up but keep the elbows down, and then reset from there. Slow breath. From here, I'm going to keep my right foot in, take my left leg out. Just spend a little while here. You might feel a tingle in your left leg like I just did. When you hold poses for a long time, you can actually feel the blood flowing to your toes. So keep holding this leg up. You're going to take both straps into your right hand to start with. Straps into right hand, left hand comes out by your side. The whole top of the body, including my right elbow, is still down. And then I'm going to open up, keep flexing through my foot, and open up, bringing that leg out to the right side. You can allow it just to fall, but you're probably not engaging your legs. So try to still keep that feeling of a stretch in your legs as you open up through the hip. Just noticing where you're tensing, where you can let go, where you can deepen the stretch a little bit more. Bring the leg gently up, reset, left hand to both thighs. We know where we're going with this one. Right hand out, okay, find the stretch in the leg, and because we're holding, pull the elbow down, kick into the heel, and then just stop where you start to feel the stretch. Really breathe into that part of the body. For me, it's here. Like this is as far as this is where I'm really feeling it right now, and I really want to make sure that I'm breathing into this space, that I'm helping the fascia around my muscles to release, that I'm sending blood into my ITB and allowing that band of collagen to be nourished. I'm not going to move my leg down until I feel a release in that side of my leg. So now I can come down slightly, but even then, like that's as far as I'm going to go. Hold for 30 more seconds. Believe me, your legs feel really good after this. Remember to focus on the long exhale. Let's bring the leg back through center, bend the knee, and then release it out. Ooh. Okay, opposite side, left knee in, band goes around. Kick the leg up, both hands onto straps to begin with, driving the heel up and just finding that stretch first, ankle in line with your hip as much as you can. The right foot is still engaged, but the whole upper body is relaxed and heavy. Taking both straps into my left hand. I'm going to walk it up a bit because I'm quite open on the insides of my hips. My right hand comes out, trying to keep the leg engaged, remember, and then bringing it out by your side, holding here and allowing it to be engaged but soft. So I'm like letting my leg drop with gravity, but trying to keep it in line with my hip. Close the eyes down once more. Notice if the right hip is coming up and maybe you're coming down too far. Breathing those nice, deep belly breaths as we learnt back in chapter 3. Gently guide the leg back up. Nice and slowly reset, driving up into the ceiling, pressing the heel up. We're going to swap sides. So now my right hand is holding onto both straps. My left hand is out, my back is flat. Take a moment to prepare. And then let's guide the leg across. Oh, so if I really push through my heel, like I can feel it there. It's running all the way down from my ankle, all the way to my hip. And you know, this is because I've been sitting down so much and I haven't been as active in my yoga practice as I usually am. And it just shows, you know, if you're working in an office, if you're working from home, just the lack of movement and the lack of blood flow and the lack of stretch and flexibility that the body, how the body becomes, can really affect, because I know that if I have tight hips, it moves up my back and it moves up my shoulders, gives me headaches. Even doing this at home in front of the television, if you're watching TV, If you're having a break from work, it's a wonderful stretch. Hold for about 30 more seconds. Keep driving into the heel if you feel that you can, but don't lose the breath. Bring the leg back through center, bend, release, and you'll feel such an openness. I don't know if you feel that, but I do. Such an openness through the legs. From here, just join the legs together and just gently come to roll onto your belly. So from here, we're going to take a Sphinx pose. Excuse my hair if it's a mess. So it happens when we do restorative. Hands are down, elbows in line with shoulders. Let the legs this time just be like heavy, and keep drawing the belly in because we want to protect the lower back. But it's that same feeling of pulling forward with the hands, shining the height through, and pressing down with the shoulders. So let's just stay here, closing the eyes, feeling like we have a ball of light that is shining from the height space out into the rest of the world. Pushing down with the elbows, crown of head is reaching high. There's space between my ears, my shoulders. My hips are heavy, my legs are heavy. Notice the subtle movements when you hold poses for a long time. So really bringing your attention to the feeling of the hands on the mat. What's going on with the shoulders? How is the head and the neck? It really gives you this opportunity to not only be still, but also to truly check in on the body. Gently coming down, bringing the hands by your side, pushing back to child's pose. So let's take a wide-legged child's pose for the sake of today's class. I find that, it's a lot more opening of the hips and the heart. So pull back with your sit bones. You can take your bolster and place it in between your body, and you can actually come to lie onto your bolster, pulling the sit bones down. I like to have the bolster just at my chest with my hands flopping down so that I can rest my head and my spine is nice and even. I'm still pulling my sit bones down, but I'm really resting into the openness of my hips. Just see what feels right for you. Maybe you don't want the bolster. Maybe you want to have it higher up, in which case you could put another pillow on top. Restorative is such a nourishing practice for the body and the mind. It's such a gesture of love and compassion and stillness. It's something that I could never do once upon a time. I used to find it so frustrating, and now I feel like I could stay here forever. So you'll notice that, like for me, my hips are sinking more and more, and I can start to feel a deeper stretch now. So I want to breathe into that stretch because it can be slightly uncomfortable at first. And then rising up, walking the hands back, removing the bolster to one side, coming up to all fours. And I'm just going to gently lift up onto my toes to come to a really gentle downward dog, just to pull my right knee in behind my right wrist. Take your block if you need it. So if you want to, placing the block underneath your hip so you have a bit more height. Take your bolster in front of you. If you want to make it higher, take everything you've got. And then coming down one more time, exactly as you were in your pigeon pose stretch. So really settling in. Let's hold here for a minute. Just reminding you that if your mind wanders, remember your anchors. Remember it's also very normal to have a mind that wanders. We have so many thoughts a day. And it's more so our ability to notice when the thoughts are taking us away from the present, and having that ability, making the choice to pull the thoughts back to center, the mind back to center, and to really engage in that feeling of peace. Okay, walking the hands back up, tucking the toes, very gently rising up to your downward dog once more. Left leg can come through behind the left wrist. Walking the right leg back, use your block if you need it. Settling into the pose and then coming all the way down. And resting for another couple of minutes. You'll notice the stretch is so different when you hold it. And I'd love to hear your guys' feedback on this restorative class, especially if you used to be like me and used to hate doing restorative yoga. Let me know your feedback, what came up for you, and also how your body feels afterwards. I remember my yoga teacher said to me when I was doing my first teacher training that it's often what you don't want, which is what you need. And at that time of my life, I was doing my vinyasa training, and all I wanted to do was power yoga. And all I wanted to do was really strong yoga and it be very exercise focused. And that wasn't what I needed. And he picked up on that. And so I ended up having to lead the meditations and do a lot more work with the restorative yoga. And it was something that, as he said, I didn't want it, but I needed it. And it's really, really been true for me. My practice personally has changed so much over the years. It's become so much slower, so much more intuitive, and so much less, fire and power as it used to be. I think I have enough of that in my day-to-day life. Take a few more breaths here. And then walking the hands all the way up. Coming to sit onto your left sit bone. Swinging the right leg all the way around. Let's come to sit onto a block. I'll just move this so you guys can see. Coming to sit onto a block to lift our hips up high, higher than usual. Legs out. Take the strap. You can put the block onto your thighs if you want to. Taking the strap over the feet. Inhaling here, and then exhaling, coming to forward fold. Once again, just breathing into the backs of the legs, pushing the knees down, but notice if your shoulders are up here and really roll them back and down. Let your elbows be nice and heavy. Let the head be heavy. If you have another pillow you want to place here or a block, you can. If it doesn't feel quite comfortable to drop the head down, otherwise just let it fall. More seconds here. Just noticing if you can walk your hands up a little more or fold a little more. What feels right for the head and the neck. Gently releasing, release the strap, take the the bolster off, come to your sit bones, come to bending your knees, and then bring the block behind you. You can bring one underneath your head as well. And undo my hair. Bringing one under your head. I'm going to bring my legs together. You can have yours out long if you want to, but you want the block to be in the middle of your shoulder blades so that you can just really open up and fall on either side. Get your bolster, your pillows, or a heavy blanket. Place it onto your legs to find some stillness there. And then hands out wide, really expose fronts of shoulders. Just let the shoulder blades fall over the block and do what feels nice for you, what feels open for you. Let's spend a couple of breaths here. Opening the heart, the belly, the hips, connecting to the mat, to earth, finding safety and stillness. Honoring our body and our mind's need for softness, for openness, for vulnerability. It's a very vulnerable pose, a very open pose. Something which primarily, maybe cognitively, we try to resist doing. So just noticing if the body's struggling to open up, and try to breathe, to soften using your exhale. Support it as much as you can, so you can put blocks under your knees. You can put more weights on top, you can take it off, do what feels right for you. Bring your hands down to either side of your rib cage. And just follow the breath for the next 5 breaths. So when you inhale, feel the ribs expanding on the backs of the hands. And as you exhale, breathe out through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Open the mouth, release. Inhale, nose. Final time in and out. Gently releasing the bolster to one side, knees coming in together, pushing up to remove the block, gently rolling all the way down. This time bolster comes under knees. Hands coming out. You can place the blanket over your eyes if you wish, or if you have a t-shirt or a towel or anything that you wish, lift up your shoulder blades, allow them to be completely relaxed, taking blanket or a towel or anything, placing it over your eyes. Even if you have an eye mask, that works really well. And allow stillness and darkness to come into that space. Hands are by your side, nice and heavy, just noticing if you're still holding any tension in any part of your body. And take a few very cleansing breaths. Almost like you're clearing out cobwebs in a dusty room. Using the inhale and the exhale in a beautiful sweeping motion to clear the space from the tips of your toes all the way to the crown of your head. As always, staying here for as long as you want. If you want to stay here and fall asleep, by all means do it. You can keep lying through the end of the video. You can put me on mute. You can just play your favorite music. But I encourage you to stay here for at least a few more minutes. When you're done with the practice, gently wiggling fingers and toes, especially if you end up staying for a while. I'm going to gently bend my knees and remove the bolster, but as I said, please stay in Shavasana and just listen to my voice, letting it fade out if you need to. Rolling up to a cross-legged pose. Bringing hands to knees. Bowing head in, acknowledging the practice, hands to heart. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for embarking on this program with me. It's been such an honor to teach you, and I really hope that you have taken at least a couple things away with you. Hands to heart, hands to middle of your eye, to third eye, for all that we currently are and for all that we're yet to become. We give our humble thanks, and together we say, Namaste. Namaste, lovely, and have a wonderful rest of your practice and enjoy the final few lessons of